Queen's squad leader Kuki Yuri and his frustrating underling Ginshi Shirazu are surveying Tokyo in search of the Ghoul serial killer Toso, who has been killing men and eating their torsos but leaving the rest of their bodies. Eventually, they meet with photographer Chihori, who gives them valuable information in exchange for the underpants of senior Queen's Hei Sasaki. Hinami, now an Ogiri tree member, warns Toso to be careful because they are close to catching him. Learning that the culprit is a taxi driver, Toru Matsuki discovers him and is brutally attacked in his car. However, this allows Ginshi and Yuri to locate the killer and lure him into a roadblock trap. While they face the killer, however, a mysterious and exceptionally strong ghoul named Orochi attacks, massacring all of the officers maintaining the roadblock, and allowing the taxi driver to escape. Sasaki appears and faces Orochi, but then suffers a hallucination of Ken Kaneki telling him to accept him in order to kill Orochi brutally. Sasaki then unleashes his Kagune. When Sasaki removes Orochi's mask during their fight, he is shocked to see the face of Nishio underneath, who calls him Kaneki, prompting his memories to flicker back and forth and drive him insane. To prevent Sasaki from killing his fellow CCG agents, Akira Mado tranquilizes him. After returning to his senses, Sasaki demotes Yuri for endangering his squad mates and promotes Ginshi to Queen's squad leader. Sasaki then spars with Kisho Arima, before telling him that he was worried that the memories of Hai's past self, Kaneki, were returning and that they might drive him away from his family with the Queen's squad. Later, Toso meets with the rabbit Ayato Kirishima to become a member of Ogiri Tree. Sasaki, Ginshi, and Mitsuki then begin investigating a ghoul nicknamed Nutcracker, who has been crushing the testicles of her victims and stop by in the coffee shop, Ri. While at the shop, Sasaki recognizes and is recognized by Toka. After tasting the coffee she makes for him, he begins to cry, subconsciously recalling his time at Anteku. He then thinks to himself that he had never before seen anyone so beautiful. Kani von Rosewald brings Shu Tsukiyama the underwear that Chihori had collected from Hei Sasaki, but the latter falls into despair after realizing that he couldn't recognize the scent as Kaneki's. Later, the Queen's squad continued their investigation of Nutcracker and cross-dressed to disguise themselves at a nightclub where she had been sighted. At the nightclub, two members of the clowns recognize Sasaki as Kaneki and note that, for Kaneki to come out, Sasaki will have to die. The squad, alongside Juzo Suzuya, then follow up on a lead that takes them to the auction where the Nutcracker had been selling her victims to the gourmets. Kidnapped and entered into a circus-themed gourmet auction, Toru is sold off to Big Madam. However, Suzuya initiates an assault on the auction in which many ghouls and CCG operatives are killed. Eto watches the chaos from afar in amusement alongside Dr. Kanu, and sends in a mysterious ghoul called Takezawa, who brutally kills a squad leader. During the fray, Toso and Kani fight over who gets to keep Toru. Takezawa, revealed to be former investigator Sido Takezawa, now a crazed one-eyed ghoul, slaughters an entire squad of CCG operatives, while another squad is killed by Nutcracker. Meanwhile, Sasaki and the Queen's squad face off against Kani, who furiously blames him for Tsukiyama's reduced mental state, but is critically injured and rescued by a mysterious ghoul named Matsumai. Big Madam and the other auctioneers are attacked by Suzuya and Yuri, but midway through the fight, Yuri is critically injured and swallowed by Big Madam. The episode ends with Takezawa leaping from above and attacking Sasaki, who is forced by his superiors to fight the SS-rated one-eyed ghoul alone. Sasaki suffers multiple hallucinations of Ken Kaneki, while Takezawa is beating him inside the auction room. Meanwhile, the Nutcracker is killed by Queen's squad members Ginshi Shirazu and Saiko Yonbayashi. Big Madam fights both Yuri, who nearly goes insane, and Mitsuki, who unleashes his Kagune. She comes face to face with Juzo, who despite that he was tortured and emasculated by her, is unable to kill her. She is eventually wounded by fellow Suzuya squad member Hanbi Abara, who covers Juzo's ears while the CCG investigators kill her. Meanwhile, Hinami, realizing that Sasaki is Kaneki, and Saiko, on hearing Sasaki's screams, both rush into the auction room, where Hinami fights Takezawa in order to save him. Sasaki fearfully accepts his Kaneki side and fights Takezawa. They both pierce each other with their kaguns and fall down. Hinami is arrested by CCG operators led by Kisho Arima. Sasaki, having survived his encounter with Takezawa, saves her from execution by asking to take her into custody. She is imprisoned in Cochlear Ghoul prison. In the following weeks after the operation, the members of the Quince squad are being promoted while Sasaki becomes senior investigator. At the next morning, he hallucinates that an investigator is Yamori. The same night, Saint Tetsuki Etu delivers him a package with Kaneki's old mask and a book signed by her in it. He goes to the cafe where he is served coffee by Toka. After he leaves, Toka, Uta, Yomo and Nishio discuss about Kaneki. Sasaki starts searching about Kaneki and then suffers a hallucination of Yoshimura and Anteku. On the same night, Tsukiyama still is in terrible pain despite eating many meals. Tsukiyama is always hungry and can't control his kagune. In the meantime, Tatara refuses Ayato's request to rescue Hinami from Cochlear. Sasaki is approached by the Ghoul investigators Nimura Furuta and Shiki Kijima, who tell him that he is going to work them on the upcoming Rose investigation. In CCGHQ, Sasaki and the Quince squad are informed by the investigator Kori about the Rose Ghoul gang, actually members of the Tsukiyama crime family, who attack Furuta and Kijima. They are saved by the investigator Heru Ihe. Gang member Yuma is arrested and tortured by Kijima in Cochlear. Sasaki visits Uta to learn more about the mask and Tetsuki's book, who in turn lies about both of those things. Sasaki then asks him to make him a new mask. Chihori delivers Sasaki's photos to Kani von Roswald and Tsukiyama recognizes him as the Kaneki. Tsukiyama wants to make Sasaki remember that he is Kaneki. He and Kani find him on the street, along with the Quince squad. And Tsukiyama runs towards him but falls down. Sasaki hears him saying, Kaneki, but he doesn't recognize him. Sasaki goes to Yuta's shop and orders masks for the entire Quince squad, in order to impersonate ghouls for the upcoming Rose investigation. Kori rejects the plan, knowing that Sasaki is a ghoul. In the meantime, Kijima's video of him torturing Yuma brutally and provoking Rose gang to kill him has gone viral. Tsukiyama plans to release him and to use Kaneki Sasaki as a key person by restoring his memories. Tsukiyama makes many failed attempts to speak to Sasaki, so Kani bribes some Ogiri members to attack the squad in order to isolate Sasaki. However, Yamori's old gang attacks Sasaki by accident and Mitsuki battles with Toso, but he is attacked by the ghoul grave robber. Sasaki kills his attackers with his kagune. Saiko is almost killed but for Eamon Kotaru, who is revealed to be alive. Etu watches the entire scene. Kani comes face to face with Etu, who st toys with him and then attacks him with her full power. It's revealed that Kani loves Tsukiyama but he doesn't, so Kani wishes he could kill Sasaki. Etu tells him that she will be his god, and captures him. Back on the CCGHQ, Sasaki asks Ui to reconsider his plan about ghoul impersonation and Ui agrees. The same night, Sasaki wears Kaneki's mask and along with the Quince squad start a patrol. Sasaki is recognized by ghouls as Eye Patch, so he starts finding information about him. He learns that the Eye Patch was the one who killed Eamon, and he sees again a Kaneki hallucination crying about killing Eamon. Tsukiyama meets again with Sasaki, who asks him if he is a ghoul and if he knows Ken Kaneki. Tsukiyama refuses to tell him. CCG's chairman, Tsuyoshi Washu, gives Ui permission to kill Tsukiyama's family. On the same night, Tsukiyama's father drugs him in order to keep him safe. The CCG are at the front of the Tsukiyama mansion ready to attack. Tsukiyama's father allows himself to be arrested while Tsukiyama takes control of the family as the CCG arrives in his hideout. In the meantime, Kani is tortured and mutilated by Eto, Kijima, Nimura Furuta, Sasaki, and the Quince squad are re-killing ghouls on the Tsukiyama hideout. In the meantime, Tsukiyama begrudgingly says goodbye to his friends who tell him to go to the rooftop where a helicopter is going to take him away. Kori sends Sasaki on the roof. Tsukiyama arrives there too and comes face to face with Sasaki. Sasaki tells Tsukiyama to surrender but Tsukiyama attacks him. Meanwhile, Kani is now insane and attacks CCG investigators on the hideout. Haruhei is wounded badly by Matsumai and makes a final stand, but Matsumai decapitates her. Kijima arrives on the scene, but Matsumai slices him up and cuts him in two with his own quank, killing him. Furuta protects himself from one of Matsumai's attacks by using another agent as a human shield, and then kills Matsumai with Kijima's quank. The Queen squad come face to face with Noro. Sasaki fights with Tsukiyama and in a moment of weakness, loses his hand by an attack from Kani. Noro is destroyed by Ginshi Shirazu, but he doesn't die. Kani tries to kill Sasaki, who starts to remember that Arima was mocking him for his defeat at his hands. Sasaki escapes Kani, who is revealed to be a woman named Karen. Eto arrives on the scene with her form as the one-eyed owl. As the battle on the hideout continues, Sasaki is attacked by Eto, who reveals her identity as Saint Ikitsuki and addresses him as Kaneki. She watches as Karen brutally attacks Sasaki and kicks him in the head multiple times. Inside his mind, Sasaki sees a child version of Kaneki whom he strangles. As the child curses him, Sasaki realizes that he is Kaneki as he sees a memory of his mother abusing him. He remembers Hyde and his battle with Arima, who pierced him in the head with his quank and brainwashed him in the aftermath of that incident. With his memories back and RC cells unsuppressed, Sasaki's hair turns black and he accepts his fate of being who he is and has had the responsibility to always be Kaneki Ken. Meanwhile, Kori-ui and the rest of CCG find Furuta, who has killed all the other CCG investigators unbeknownst to anybody else and claims to be the sole survivor. Kaneki fights with Karen, piercing her mercilessly with his Kagune as Tsukiyama watches. Although Kaneki recognizes Tsukiyama, he stabs him. Meanwhile, Yuri and Shirazu fight and kill Noro, but Shirazu ends up dying due to his injuries. Kaneki and Eto fight, running from the windows towards the roof of the hideout. Kaneki destroys her Kakuja, ripping her apart. Eto falls from the building while declaring her love for him. Kori-ui finds Kaneki devouring Eto's Kakuja on the roof. Kaneki pretends to still be Sasaki and throws Tsukiyama from the building. Karen falls along with him in order to save him, however she falls down to her death. Kaneki meets the Queen squad and sees Shirazu's body. Kaneki coldly blames Yuri for Shirazu's death and calls him weak. Tsukiyama is saved by Toka, Yomo and Chihori. Naki and other Ogiri tree members steal Shirazu's corpse.